is a really popular trick that's going around Facebook and Instagram at the moment. It does require you to have a active split, that is being able to pull your legs down from an inverted position into a nice flat split, as well as a lot of core balance and wrist strength. So it's definitely not a beginner trick, it would be more intermediate advanced, plus you need to have your splits down pretty solid for it. You can still make it look pretty good without having a full flat split, but I recommend having your split as flat as possible to make it the prettiest shape and the nicest line possible. So I'm going to go through some of the tips and technique for this, as it can be quite tricky and there are ways to make it easier, of course, and there are ways to make it harder. So I'm going to break that down for you. So let's get down into it. Woo! So the floor jade is obviously a floor work trick. So you can do this anywhere that you have enough space to do it. It's the kind of trick that you do need to have space to do, as when you extend your legs, it does take up a lot of space. So just make sure that there isn't any pets, loved ones, or anything around that you could possibly kick or land on top of, just for safety and all that. So, of course you don't have to wear heels, but I am wearing heels for this one. So first, to get into this, you need to be able to do a good solid candlestick pose, which is a yoga trick. So just to go over that, you're going to lie down on your back, on the floor. Nice, this is easy. So what I'm going to do is both hands down. I'm going to lift my hips up into the air into a plow position. So this is with my legs nice and heavy, reaching down towards the floor below. This is a really nice stretch, and it can give you a bit of a stretch on your neck as well on the back, so just be careful with this too. What you can do is get your elbows on the floor, heel of your hands underneath your hips. That way we can take the hips and balance here, opening nice and wide into a straddle. So the weight of your hips is going to be in your wrists. We're using like a nice kind of, how do you say, a little claw kind of thing here to balance the hips. So what I'm going to do first of all is get into a split position. So whichever leg you want first, I'll put my right leg first. So I'm going to first make a straddle and turn my hips towards the right hand side, so making a little smoothly facing my hips. So I'm going to take the weight more so in my right hand once I do this, into my right elbow and right wrist. Left leg goes behind me. Keep on turning those hips as far as you can towards the other side and opening your legs into a split. You're really squeezing this back leg down and slightly pivoting your hips forward. I can have the second hand free if I want to on the floor or wherever it is comfortable, or I can keep it on the hip, but all the weight is in this right hand here. So the more you twist your hips and drop your legs down, the bigger split you're going to get and more balance. This is called ass on a platter. Let me just come back in for a second, back to candlestick, because you're really holding like a waiter holding a tray. That's your platter, and your ass is what's on the platter. So it may sound crude, but that's exactly what you're looking to do here. So on the other side, ass on the platter. So I'm going to pull my platter. So using my thumb and my heel of my hand to push into my hips. First straddle, I'm going to rotate my hips towards the left hand side as much as possible. I'm going to bend the right leg, take it back into a split. I can from here move my right hand to where it's more balanced. All the weight is in my elbow and in my left wrist, making a nice flat split. And back out, candlestick. Just go back and relax for a second. And remember, you want to stretch your wrists out during this move and keep them nice and flat. So make the fist go round one way, then the other way. Bear your finger and thumb, hold it away, both sides, of course. And we can walk the hands around all angles, front and back, hand to the floor, and rolling it around. So just make sure that your wrists are super warm before you go and try this trick, and do stretch them out because a huge amount of weight is going to those wrists. So be careful to mind yourself while you're doing it. So I'm going to move on to doing the floor jade with the pull to help you to balance. Don't worry if you don't have a pull at home, you can skip this step. It's a good way to help you to get more balance in this trick. Plus, if you're training your jade split up in the air, this is pretty helpful. So what I'm going to do is pose between my legs. I'm just going to lie down on my back to a hip bridge. I'm going to walk myself in nice and close to the pole. What I'm going to do is get up nice and high and pull myself in to get my ass nice and high on the pole. I'm not going to go all the way. I want to have like a little bit of space between my upper back and my pull. Again, not too far away because you're going to slide, but not all the way because otherwise you're going to be like right up onto your neck, which doesn't feel very comfortable. So get it nice and tight. From here, hold and pull. Just like in candlestick, I'm going to lift my legs, open them out to the side in a nice big straddle. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my opposite hand. So right hand even grabs my left leg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold a pull with my left hand, which is a free one, right hand is holding my left leg. I'm going to bend the other leg, drop it back into split. And as I do so, watch my hips. I'm going to arch my back a little bit and rotate my hips so that I'm pushing my chest up towards the ceiling and my hips are curling down towards the floor. This can be a pretty tricky place to balance. Keep on holding and shove your ass into the pole here. Make that leg super duper straight, push through the knee, making those lines as pretty as possible. And of course I'm pulling down my legs as much as possible with my opposite hand. To come back out, lift yourself back to straddle. Just yourself, you need to pull yourself back in. So now the other leg. So left hand is grabbing my right ankle. And of course remember guys, the lower you grab down your leg, so closer to your ankle as possible, you are using a longer lever, which makes it easier. So here is not such a great place to pull. Lower down the leg as much as you can. So, my right hand is on the pole. I'm going to bend my left leg. I'm going to rotate my pelvis. I'm going to push my hips up towards the, push my chest even towards the ceiling, hips down towards the floor, pulling into that Jade split. Of course, as you can see, my split is not as solid on my right hand side. So, more strength building in your glutes will help to flatten out that split on your other side. It is an active split. So it requires strength in your glutes as well as your hamstrings and your flexors to make it nice and flat. So once I'm done with that on both sides, you can just move your hips to one side and roll down through your spine today. So now for the floor Jade, on the floor, doing a full split. So it's a step up from the asana platter because we're using just one hand to hold the platter and the other hand is going to pull the leg down into a split while we're balancing those hips to make as much of a split as possible. So, excuse me, let me just show you on this side, demonstrate, just to give you a different angle. I'm going to go on my left leg, because that's my more flexible leg, and to give you a better picture of what the move looks like. If you're a right leg splitter, that's okay. You can just reverse the movements to do it on your other side. That way you get the best line possible. So, lying down on the floor, we're going to lift up first into candlestick. So first, candlestick opening to a nice wide straddle. Now, as I said, I'm going on the left, so make sure you decide where you're going. Left hand, I'm going to make a pattern. I'm going to move it a little bit in towards my towards the midline of my body as much as possible, and really using the heel of my hand to push. So first, I'm going to rotate my hips towards the left-hand side. I'm going to very, very slowly balance, grab my ankle, grab my lower down leg as possible. I'm pulling the leg down, and at the same time, like what I did in the pull, I'm going to hinge my hips forward, hinge, 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 pushing my chest up, so you get a nice flat line. Balance, 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 balance as you come back in. Back to the center, taking the weight out of that wrist, so I can either roll into the back and roll, or I could just roll out into a chuck girl either. There are a lot of different ways out of this spin. The main thing to do is take your time with it, keep your balance. Be careful of that wrist and that platter that you're holding. There is a huge amount of strain going in here. So make sure you mind yourself and stretch it out. Take the balance very, very slowly, carefully. Your chest is going up to the ceiling, and we're slightly curving the lower back so that you can tilt the pelvis down towards the floor as I'm moving that lower leg all the way down. Keep pulling your split leg towards you with the opposite hand. Chest and feet. So have fun with your floor Jade if you get it. Make sure that you send me a picture on Facebook or Instagram, tag me in it, and use the hashtag #FloorJade, which you can see is doing the rounds on social media at the moment, so that you can be part of the fun as well. Even if you just get as far as the asana platter, which is a great way to build up your active flexibility in your splits, It's really awesome for beginners especially, so do try that, have fun with it. And you can experiment with different transitions in and out as well to make some beautiful forward dancing. So go make some splits, make some floor jades, and make me happy. Till next time!